This What's Working with Cam Marston podcast is brought to you by Stella Artois Beer.
What's Working with Cam Marston is brought to you by Stella Artois Beer. Stella Artois is a perfect beer for celebration. Nothing caps off a big sale, hitting your incentive goals, or a profitable quarter like a round of Stellas. Brewed first in 1708 as a special Christmas brew, today Stella is a gift for everyone to enjoy year-round. Stella Artois. Find it wherever fine beer is sold.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is the show that finds the trends influencing the workplace, the workforce, and the marketplace around you. Our goal is to uncover the trends shaping the businesses around us so that hopefully by hearing these trends and hearing our guests discuss the trends influencing their business, we can learn something that will make each of us a little bit better at whatever it is we do. What's Working is brought to you by the Alabama Center for Real Estate, housed in the Culverhouse College of Business at the University of Alabama. I've got a great show for you this week. Christina Woerner McInnis has created something that is setting a certain marketplace on fire. It's called the SoilKit. And if you recognize her maiden name, Woerner, she's part of the Woerner family of the well-known, famous, nationally known sod growers in Baldwin County. She took her roots on the farm and in the sod business and has applied it to a soil kit where you and I can take one of her kits for about $30 and test the soil in our own yards, have the results emailed to us, and given the solution to whatever the problem is with our soil. We'll have her on in a few minutes, and this is a wonderful story. However, the show's got some updates as well. First, this is airing, I think, sometime the week of February 14th. And in 2 weeks, if all goes as planned, the show should be available across the state of Alabama. It's been a goal of ours for a good while now. And finally, we've gained the traction and the wherewithal to get this broadcast across the state. I hope by saying this, I haven't jinxed myself. But the momentum is now in our favor. And while you likely listen to Mobile or on the podcast, know that we're about to be available. The show, What's Working with Cam Marston, is about to be available in Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, and of course, Mobile, and maybe other smaller markets to come. It's a big deal for the team and me, and we're very proud of it. At the tail end of the show, I have a commentary with David Webb, or by David Webb, rather. David has done commentaries on the show a number of different times. His focus this week is the woke culture, the cancel culture, and how it targeted the Azalea Trail maids in our fair town. David and I can sometimes stand on opposite sides of an issue, but I always think, let's let other opinions be heard. While it is my show, I do want a diversity of opinions. And David has about a 3.5-minute commentary that you can hear about the 49th or 50th minute of this show. And as always, David articulates his points very well. Even if you don't agree, you'll have to agree that he's done this very well. David is not a fan of the attacks on our Azalea Trail maids by the woke culture, and he very carefully and cleverly and clearly articulates his points. When we come back from break, I'll have Christina Woerner McInnis telling about this fantastic story and how Lowe's home improvement store got involved with this. It's a great part of the story as well. She and I left a lot of meat on the bone in our interview. She will definitely need to come back on the air with me. Christina, as I said before, is a part of the Woerner family, a family business. Family businesses seem to be strong in our neck of the woods. Perhaps they are elsewhere too, but I know in our neck of the woods they seem to be strong. And it's a perfect time for me to talk to you about the professionals at Sandifer Wealth Management. Jamie Sandifer and Mark Salyers treat their customers with the utmost care, and they, just like you would expect they would, have a great care and concern and fondness for family businesses. If you are leading a family business and want to make sure your next generation can start out or grow the business with firm footing, if you have a a bit of affluence, let's say, or a business that you want to make sure takes care of the next generation, then it's well worth a call and a meeting with Jamie and or Mark at Sandifer Wealth Management to talk to them about your plans, tell them a little bit about your business and what you hope it will do for the next generation, and they can advise you very well. I'm a big fan of theirs. You can find them at Sandifer Wealth Management online. You'll see them on Old Shell Road. There's a place on their website for you to interact with them, and there's phone numbers on that website as well. Again, the professionals at Sandifer Wealth Management. When we come back, I'll have Christina McInnis with me. You're listening to What's Working, brought to you by the Alabama Center for Real Estate at the University of Alabama.
Think about how people really see you. The kid at the drive-thru just sees a coffee drinker.
Please pull forward.
Your local barista sees the person who loves a smiley face in their latte.
See you next time.
It's kind of the same way with insurance. Other insurance companies just see a customer, but a State Farm agent sees more. They see you as a neighbor. Your State Farm agent is here to get to know who you really are, so they can help life go right.
Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, in Mobile at 666-1616.
We're back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by the Alabama Center for Real Estate, housed at the Culverhouse College of Business at the University of Alabama. In the studio today, Christina Woerner McInnis is my guest. She's the CEO and founder of Agritech Corp. and a shareholder in the Woerner family companies. If you've bought sod in the southern part of the state, you have probably bought Woerner family sod. It's an incredible company. We'll hear the history, a little bit of the company, but our focus today is Christina's, can we call it an invention? Is it a product? Is it an invention?
It is. It's an invention, but we have taken something that's existing in the marketplace and made it technical and dynamic.
It's called SoilKit, and in my hands, I'm holding one. It's a way for the do-it-at-home gardener, the do-it-at-home landscaper to test their soil. You know what, Christina? You should be talking about what this is and not me trying to explain about it. First, welcome to What's Working. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Cam. It's great to be here.
Let's start with let's start with you, your background a little bit, and how it led to this product in my hand called SoilKit.
Okay, great. So my family's been farming for over 100 years, just like you said, the Woerner family. I'm a fifth-generation farmer. I have 4 kids who are a sixth-generation farmer. They have no clue what they're doing right now, but we're going to try and instill some legacy in them. So what happened is Dad had me working at the garden center that my grandmother started in Pensacola, Florida. And I was there, and over again, the customer would come in the garden center and they'd ask, what kind of fertilizer? I'm having a problem with my lawn or garden. Should I lime? What should I be doing? And, I'm a mom of 4, so I'm like, well, give me your soil test. I want to know your results. Well, I've never done one. What do you mean you've never done one? The farm and us as a farming family, we do soil samples for decades. Every year, our whole business is built around them. Well, for the consumer to do it, I had to explain how to go get the kit from a local extension office. So if I was in Florida, I'd have to find their local extension office. If I was at Dad's store in Birmingham, I'd have to find that one. And if I was in Gulfport, I'd have to locate there. Instruct the homeowner on how to find the extension office, get the kit, go back to their lawn or garden, gather the soil, tell them how to take the soil sample, and then how to fill out the form. The form is very complicated. Farmers understand it. I understand it. But to the average homeowner or consumer, it's very intimidating. I don't know if you've ever seen one, but
no, I've seen soil, but no sample kits. No, I have no idea how if it's green and in my yard, I let it go.
Well, so what we did is go through the process, and then that homeowner came in 9 weeks later, and the growing season was already well into it. Yeah. The time to do stuff had already passed, and she handed me the form and didn't even know how to read it. And I said, well, no problem. I'm here. I'll help you. She goes, please just don't ever put me through that process again. It was difficult for me. She said, and I ran out of time. It was in a shoebox. I took it to the post office. I paid $17 to ship a shoebox. And she said, and then I get the answers, and I don't know what the answers mean. How do I connect that to a product on the shelf? So I went to Dad, and I said, Dad, I just need to make a simple and digital soil test. And so we started SoilKit, and I said, I just need a small investment. Well, as we built that product, the consumer continued to ask for more and more and more. Okay, well,
let me interrupt you. More tests, more kits. What were they wanting more of?
More features.
Oh, really?
So once they got the report back, which was very standard to what people are very accustomed to getting, well, then it was, I need to have that link to an actual product. Give me the shopping list. So then I got the shopping list. You know what? And the store owner would say, how about hyperlink that to my Facebook page or my website or to the product that I'm selling online so I can do online fulfillment or curbside. Now, mind you, COVID's starting to hit, as you know. So everything was becoming as digital and connecting that consumer 24/7. And a lot of independent garden centers were struggling with how to do that. And SoilKit kind of stepped in and said, let's start with SoilKit, connect it all the way to the product, and even try to either deliver it to the door or make it curbside friendly for the consumer. Now it's gotten to where the consumer didn't even know how to calculate their square feet. Well, we provided satellite imagery, okay? So you go now it's even amazing. You go get your test result out and you scan it with a QR code. See, I don't know if you see the QR code on here.
Yeah, I'm holding it here.
You start with and I've got the Auburn one, and you've got the regular one. So in the state of Alabama, we have an Auburn SoilKit. We power their lab. So 50% of our users are mobile. You just take your phone, and we all, again, during COVID, we learned how to use QR codes. You take your little camera app and you scan it. Takes you to SoilKit, takes you to the registration page, puts in that kit ID for you. Then you can go and hit geolocate, because what happened is the landscapers in the field, they have a sun over their eyes, or you're there. You don't want to, on your phone, oh, look at my address. You just hit geolocate, and it tells you the exact address of where you are. You confirm, and then you choose your crop. Do I have Bermuda, centipede, a garden? And then you click register kit, and then you're prompted with a video on how to take a soil test. So the process continues to get consumer and user friendly, easy, and simple. So then after you're done, you fill it up to the fill sample line. You put it in the pre-addressed and stamped envelope.
Oh, I see.
Postage is paid.
This is all part of the price for the kit.
Yes. And you just raise your red flag. Oh. And if for some reason you don't, you just scan here and schedule for the USPS to pick it up from you.
Get out. I didn't know they did that. That's awesome. So there's, as is always the case, 1,000 questions. Have you always been a problem solver of this nature? Is this part of who you are, or is this the first time you saw a market opportunity with something?
Well, I think by genetics, my family is made up of entrepreneurs, and they really embrace an entrepreneurial spirit in the family. But also, I think I kind of give kudos to mom and women out there. We are made to be multitaskers and problem solvers. So I think sort of having that female brain to the situation that's always been done in a traditional way to say, I'm ready to do this a different way. Let's keep the traditional information that comes with it, but let's enhance it. Let's make it more premium. Let's make it more, tech friendly with me. And then, I'll be honest with you. I get my groceries delivered to my front door. I'm a busy working mom of 4 kids. Put the Instacart to my front door, especially, again, going back to where we've transformed in the marketplace in the next 2 years. You don't always want to get out in a store, go to a location, or drive around. You just really want things delivered to your mailbox, things delivered to your front door, and things done very simple and easy. So, and that's what SoilKit's doing. It's solving a bunch of those problems. And then that time in COVID, as it changed so many of the independent garden centers and the lawn and garden, it kind of married together because people began to look at science and DIY tests and lab-based tests, and it kind of connected and conjoined to say, hey, look, let's just keep going with this and adding more features. So it's exciting.
Is it safe to say that the customer designed this? You concepted it was your concept to pull these disparate things together, the agricultural component of it and things of that nature. But then the customer said, hey, link it to the fertilizer I need. Link it to the fertilizer in the store that I go to. Did the customer drive a lot of this, or was it you driving all of this?
Customer drove a lot, and then store owners drove a lot. So as the store owner experienced how easy this was on their staffing that was already so limited, they said, wow, you're handing us back the name of the customer, their phone number, their information, and their shopping list. So when they come in on their phone, they have the shopping list, they go right to the product loaded up. It allows them to just say, do you need a spreader? Do you want some gloves? You don't spend that 30 minutes going over, what does it mean, 2 pounds of nitrogen? What does this mean? It gets right to it. More time for selling.
What has the feedback been of the homeowner, of your customer? Have they said, "Oh my gosh, my yard was a yellowish color and now it's a green color"? Are you getting what you thought you'd get in terms of reaction?
Well, as for immediate reactions, I get that every once in a while for someone who has an iron deficiency in a tree. But for the most part, the reaction we get is, "I'm healing." Because it takes time for a lawn or garden to heal. And that's what I get, I'm healing. And then also another one that I get is a lot of my organic customers. They use a lot of composting, a lot of manure, and they become extremely high in phosphorus. What they don't realize is they're burning the root health, burning their crops, but they're also allowing that to wash off into the watersheds, which for here in Alabama, the Gulf of Mexico has one of the largest dead zones in the world here now. So not only are we fighting the BP oil spill and we're using paper straws for our turtles, well, we really need to understand that 13 states are funneling down the Mississippi River, dumping off into our Gulf of Mexico. So homeowners aren't realizing that they're also contributing to that problem. So they call me up, I didn't know. Well, now you do. So now here are the simple steps you do that are going to make a big impact if we all do this together.
That's fascinating. So yours is a green approach. It's a simplicity approach. It's a green approach. It's a do-it-yourself approach. It's a take the expert and put it in the background approach. Have you gotten any pushback from, let's say, what am I trying to say, lawn services or anything like that, saying, hey, you're stealing our thunder?
Well, the pushback that I've gotten from the lawn services are the ones that don't want to follow the rules. They don't want you to tell them the science that they're harming. They want to continue to do it the way they've done it. Don't change the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
So, and then the only other pushback is sometimes we get, well, I use my local extension. Well, that's great. And guess what? We work with your local extension too. In case of Alabama, we do it with Auburn. And all we do is add those enhanced features on the front and the back end. Still use that Auburn lab, still connect to your Auburn extension agent, but guess what? The postage is there, the tracking is there. We have a Zendesk customer service adding a virtual extension experience to kind of help with that connecting. Where's my kit? Where's this? You'd be surprised. And it also enables people in Alabama, if they want to have an Auburn, they don't have to drive to the extension agency to get it. They can have it delivered for free. That's included in the cost.
When we come back from break, I want to hear the story that you and I began talking about before we started recording of how Lowe's was a part of this. Lowe's, the big box store.
Yes.
Not Lowe's Hotels. Lowe's, the big box store. When we come back, you're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston in the studio with Christina Woerner McInnis. She's the founder of Agritech. What's Working is brought to you by the Alabama Center for Real Estate at the University of Alabama. We'll be right back.
At Spring Hill Toyota, it's just that easy. From our 3-day exchange to free car washes, the benefits of the Spring Hill Advantage make the choice easy to see. We make it easy to own. Every vehicle comes with Toyota Care, plus our no-cost maintenance plan with free tire rotations and oil changes for 4 years. Get peace of mind with free roadside assistance 24/7. And don't forget, it's easy to buy your car 100% online. Visit SpringHillToyota.com today. It's just that easy.
Christina Woerner McInnis is the CEO and founder of Agritech Corp. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. She's in the studio with me. What's Working is brought to you by the Alabama Center for Real Estate at the University of Alabama. Christina, prior to the break, we were talking a little bit about how Lowe's got involved in this, and apparently they're a big champion of yours. Tell me that story.
Yes, well, I don't have 3 days to tell this story, so I'll give you a high level. So everybody just step back in time a little bit, okay? So we've got COVID hitting. And if you guys know anything about my office, we're full of a bunch of working women who have a lot of kids, and schools were shut down. They're kind of going back in. So you've got working moms, We're serving as virtual Zoom teachers during the day. We're trying to do all different kinds of things. And so we're finally getting kids back at school. And we're starting to get in the office. We're trying to understand if you've been exposed in this CDC guideline. And we're always walking on some unpredictable kind of workplace environment conditions. And so what happened is, for you guys in the Gulf Coast here, everyone will relate, we're in school and Sally hits. So it's the second we got back up and going, Sally took over, and I had 3 trees on my house. I had no electricity. I had no internet, and I had 4 kids back at the house again. And I should be working because that was a work day. And I had a friend call me. She has our marketing agency, Unrivaled Group in Austin, Texas. And she said, she got through my cell phone. So here I am watching everything flooded, trees everywhere, trying to find ice and food and help neighbors out and clear trees out of the road to get out. And I need to go fill out a Making It with Lowe's application. That's the last thing I needed to do today.
That's right. Well, of your priorities is feeding your food, helping your neighbors. Oh, and this application from Lowe's. But
if you guys notice this, if you're on the Gulf Coast, anyone outside of a hurricane zone has no idea what it's like in a moment of devastation,
right.
Okay? So Valerie goes, well, I'll help you do this. I'll get the application going. I'm just going to have to get you to sign off. So you've got to find internet, and you've got to find internet today. So I found my dad. I said, does the office in Foley have electricity and internet? Yes, it does. So I get the trees cut out of the road. No exaggeration. I get up to the Foley office. I throw the application together, and we submit it. It is a mentorship program through Lowe's, and it's a grant. And I can't remember, thousands of people applied. And you could see in the application that was taking a couple of weeks that someone kept viewing it. And I got noticed that I needed to start supplying videos, telling my story and telling how SoilKit was solving the problem for the homeowner, the landscaper. And even now, we're going to be exciting news working with the city of Orange Beach. So even municipalities. So I did all the videos, and then they shipped me a luggage. Because, of course, during COVID, you can't go to any studio or anything. Everybody's, shelter in place almost to a point. And so I get this piece of luggage, and it's a whole production studio inside of a piece of luggage.
Yeah.
We put it together, and Damon John of Shark Tank's involved. I asked Damon, because he's mentoring, I said, Damon, okay, tell me how you did it and how you did it with FUBU. He said, well, what I did is I went and put the clothing line on celebrities and athletes. And it was, he went through his success.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, so looking at that then, I need to find Martha Stewart. I said, I need to find a celebrity. And he just stopped and he said, no. He said, they look to you for the answer. You're the celebrity. And I was like, oh, good gracious, Damon, you could have given me any other answer but that one.
Right.
So he was really fun. He was our mentor. And then I had to go in a competition, which for me, nationally, I knew this was going to debut. So the what ifs of, well, what if I fall on my face? What if, and sure enough, had technical difficulties and everything. And I got to the end and I was chosen second.
Wait a minute. Let me interrupt you here. So this studio that they sent was in order for you to pitch live via the cameras and everything that they sent to a judging group across the country. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So this was kind of a Shark Tank thing all done remotely.
Yes. But the good thing was at the end, it was a mentorship program and grants.
You won the opportunity to be mentored and the money to fund the project.
They gave us a $5,000 grant to improve marketing materials I used from our website. They sponsored a 2-year certification for a women's certification through WeBeck. And I made it because I was in the top 3. I got to go in every store nationwide. So some of the other people only made it online. I was able to make it online and get in the stores.
So you've been to every Lowe's store nationwide. Is that what you're saying?
I haven't been there, but the SoilKit has.
The SoilKit has. I was about to say, wow, now that's a tour of every store nationwide. Well, that's great. So what was the first order? What was the size of the first order? How many units?
It was right at about 35,000 units.
And how many had you produced up until that point?
Just a couple thousand. Well, and the difference was that we all had to do that within a time frame of like 4 weeks. Yeah. So as soon as you got the POs, the trucks were coming within 4 weeks. Luckily, I caught it where all the kids were home from college and high school. It was the summertime. So I was able to utilize a lot of our, honestly, high schoolers and college students that I normally, because labor is a huge issue. There's a huge shortage right now.
No kidding. So I'm holding a box here in my hand that I could buy at Lowe's. This is what I would buy at Lowe's here. Where was this thing made? Where was it assembled?
Foley, Alabama.
That's fantastic.
And most likely done by a high schooler or a college student or some temporary, really sweet friends.
No kidding. That's great. So they made that many. They were busting their tails for how many? For 4 weeks to get this order taken care of.
Yes.
And of those 35,000 units that you shipped, how many have sold?
Oh, gosh. Well, see, let me tell you about that fun story, another ag story. So we landed in the stores right at the 1st of October. So we got a little bit of the surge of fall and then winter hit.
Yeah.
So right now it's opening back up and buzzing again. So we're still doing okay on that. I look forward to moving more this spring. But this is a seasonal product.
Yeah.
So right now, I've still got a lot of the country. I'm kind of wondering why right now Rhode Island's not selling any.
I wonder. So if I'm in Rhode Island, let's say, and I get a SoilKit, are they going to send the sample to an Alabama ag group or a Florida? You had to figure out where the ag groups were in each state. Is that correct?
Well, in this one, we use a third-party ag lab for this one. So I chose one third-party private company that I choose, and they have 5 locations.
Okay, so this will go to the nearest location, I would assume. Yeah.
Yes.
And what did they do when they got your phone call, this ag lab, and you said, I got an idea, and I need you to buy into this, and I need you to sell me your services cheap, so we can get this thing going?
Well, I'll tell you the most incredible thing about this company. Number one, they have worked with the family farm for years, if not decades. So luckily,
with your family farm or family farms?
So they did all of the soil sampling for the farm. So
I had a warm lead.
Yeah, so I kind of had an existing relationship. But I do think picking up the phone and calling them and saying, just confirming you can do 1 million units a year, right? It was very relieving to have them return by saying, no problem.
No problem. And they hung up from that phone call and said, you'll never guess what just happened here.
That farm girl really did it.
No kidding. So do you look at other things today and you say, based on what you've learned, how to assemble this product and to take the burden off the homeowner, is your mind all the time looking around going, I think there's a product here. I think I see an idea here. Has this fueled something new for you?
So you ready for the secret? Okay, we'll go ahead and cut the secret out. So now you've done your soil sample. You're going to look at me, and here's yours for today. You're going to go home. And what kind of grass do you have, Cam?
I have some St. Augustine on the side under the live oak because it seems to grow there.
Yeah.
And some centipede on the other side of the yard.
So you'll do this, and I'll give you the crop requirements of which one you prefer. Because centipede and St. Augustine require a lot of different nutrients, okay? And I'll give you the results. And you know what you're going to ask me in 3 months from now? You're going to say, well, what do I do next? Which is, the secret's out. We are building the annual plan. So you begin with SoilKit, and then the annual plan kicks in. Is it time for a pre-emergent? Is it time for your next fertilizer application? Yeah. Do you notice any of these stress areas in your lawn right now? Because I'm reading how much rain you've gotten, your temperature. Remember, I'm gathering data all around you and all about you.
All right. There's, again, questions, and we're coming up on a break. I want to talk about the data on the soils that you guys are collecting from all over the country. But before that, folks, Christina has offered listeners of What's Working a promo code for you to go online and order one of these things. And I'm going to give you that promo code right now. It is, very simply, What's Working. All caps. Go to her site. And the site, Christina, is?
SoilKit.com.
SoilKit.com. Place your order. Enter What's Working at the checkout thing. All caps, no apostrophes. There's a promo code for you to get your first kit. And when we come back, I want to hear what you're doing with all this data. And I want to hear what you've learned about people and yourself in this process.
And don't forget that promo code expires April 1st.
Thank you.
And it excludes the collegiate line. It's only for SoilKit without trowel.
There we go. All right, you're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston in the studio with Christina Woerner McInnis, the CEO and founder of Agritech. What's Working is brought to you courtesy of the Alabama Center for Real Estate at the University of Alabama.
Think about your home. What do you see? Do you just see 2 stories or the stories of your toddler's first steps? Now think about your car. Do you see an odometer reading or your kids reading in the back seat? Other insurance companies just see a house. They just see a car. But a State Farm agent sees what your home and your car really mean to you. So why not give them the protection they deserve?
You can reach me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, at AllisonHorner.com.
Hey, this is Cam. Thanks for listening, and I hope you're really enjoying the podcast. Do me a favor and search for Cam Marston on your social media outlets and like us or follow us or whatever is the right thing to do. Also, if you know others who'd benefit from the podcast, please forward it on to them and encourage them to listen. If you're so inclined, we'd love your rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Those ratings matter. Finally, don't be a stranger. Email me with your comments, your feedback, your thoughts, your show ideas, whatever. Cam, C-A-M, at cammarston.com. I'd love to hear from you. Again, thank you very much for listening. Now, back to the show. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. We're back in the studio with Christina McInnis. She's the CEO and founder of Agritech Corp. She's from the Woerner family companies. Her middle name, Woerner. If you've bought sod anywhere around here, folks, it's likely come from one of the Woerner farms that are particularly in Baldwin County here in Alabama. What's Working is brought to you by the Alabama Center of Real Estate at the University of Alabama. Christina, all right, again, this is the challenge of trying to fit everything into a 5-segment show, of 3 of which are content. What are you doing with the data? Okay, so you're collecting data. Everybody that sends you soil, you're getting access to that data through the company that it analyzes the soil. We know data has value. What are you doing with it?
So that's what's interesting, because this side of data, no one really has been capturing. So I'm in an uncharted arena for what this can be really used for. What am I using it for right now? I'm using it to help the consumer, the optimal plant health and the environment. That's what I'm using it for now. But if you've ever used 23andMe or Everlywell,
that's what I'm thinking.
Have you ever gotten the surveys afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I got one from 23andMe the other day. Do you like the taste of cilantro? Can you do a cartwheel? Well, of course I'm going to spend 10 minutes telling you a bunch of stuff you shouldn't know about me.
Right,
okay.
Right.
Same for this. We are going to begin doing surveys. So have you seen a monarch butterfly this year?
Yeah.
Have you seen a red cardinal? Have you had chinch bug issues? So what are we going to do with the data? I'm going to let some really talented research and scientists start telling me where should we be looking for what.
Interesting. Now, what could what be?
Well, a lot of it right now, if you had to tell me, if I were to tell you anything that I'm looking for phosphorus levels and how to tell the consumer to stop using phosphorus-based fertilizers if the plant in the soil does not need it. Because that, and I know you've seen it, I mean, the manatees are dying off and they're becoming extinct in certain rivers in certain areas. I mean, we're having huge environmental issues.
Well, that's what's killed so many of the coral reefs.
Yes.
Is fertilizer runoff. I remember I was trying to find a coral reef to swim around in Jamaica one time. They're like, they're all dead. Yes. They're all dead. All the sugarcane plantations, the fertilizer, the sugarcane plantations have killed them.
Well, guess what they're starting to say in these news reports now? They're starting to say the sugarcane, the commercial ag has played their role, but now they're beginning to realize just how much of a role the homeowner has been playing. And you're starting to see in the last year, when they report this, they're saying, and lawn fertilizers.
All right. So another question. Lawn fertilizers. We had Ellis Ollinger here.
Oh, yes, Ellis with Flowerwood.
Flowerwood.
Yes.
He was a fantastic guest. An old a grade school friend of mine, believe it or not. But he said that the pandemic has driven the number of gardeners through the roof.
Yes.
And he particularly cited the millennial generation who's getting into it. What do you expect from them? A more responsible gardener? Do you think your message will land and the benefits you provide and the environment and save the manatees and save the coral reefs? Do you expect a different reaction from them?
So first off, going back to Ellis and Flowerwood, very appreciative. They're Plants by Mail, powered by SoilKit. They've got one of our soils. Yes, we do their private label. So going back to it, we call it the Victory Gardener. So it's kind of a repeat about what happened during the war and everybody began to produce their own food. Yeah. So that's what happens. But not only did we do it for our own food, we kind of did it for emotional therapy in some ways too, to feel productive. So what we are doing is the consumer wants to do the right thing. but they want to be told what to do, but they also want to be told what to do by a trusted source that is backed by science. Look, give me the answers, but I need to know the answers are backed by science. And that's what we're doing for them, making them more environmental stewards of what's going on, as well as empowering them to have a healthy lawn and garden. So do I think they're going to be, your question was, do I think they're going to be...
The millennial generation, a more responsible gardener, are they going to be receptive to the message of lawn fertilizers are not the right thing, or too much lawn fertilizers are not the right thing to do?
My latest conversation was this person had quit using fertilizer altogether. Was putting nothing on. And I said, well, that's unfair because technically plants need to eat. So we need to give them form of nutrients. What you need to do is give them the right nutrients at the right time for the right reason. And when you empower them with that information that they're harming by not doing it or doing too much and providing science to give them the right facts to do it, I think they're incredibly receptive of it.
What's going to become of Agritech? Agritech, if I understand your bio correctly, was created to give SoilKit a place to live. Is that accurate?
It is.
What's going to happen to the parent company?
The Woerner company or Agritech?
I'm sorry, Agritech.
What's going to happen to Agritech? Right now, we are actively pursuing partners to line up with us that could be strategic to really explode this into the living plant tag that I know this product can be. I want to give you, when you wake up, you're going to have a profile to know what you should be doing with your hydrangeas, what you should be doing with your tomatoes, and what you should be doing with your lawn at all moments in time. Is it time to prune them? Is it time to fertilize them? And if so, with what and how much? So I'm really excited to really build out that annual plan of a living plant tag.
I need help with my hydrangeas. They used to be waist high. They were gorgeous. I'd wade through them under my in the mottled light underneath the oak tree. They're just anemic these days. And I've done everything, including singing to them, and none of it has impacted the hydrangeas.
Well, good thing you did 2 soil samples. You need to treat those differently.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at your St. Augustine, and then let's look at hydrangeas. They're very sensitive to pH. Very sensitive.
I had my boys, when they were much younger, go out and pee on them, and with the belief that will help them. And it got a little eye rolls from the neighbor, and they're still anemic, even though we had a couple test samples over in the corner. Go pee on these. And the rest of them, they all still look the same. So if it had worked, I'd had all the neighborhood boys peeing on their hydrangeas. It didn't work. What do you think? What have you learned about yourself in this? Tell me who Christina's become.
Oh, my. What I have become is, one thing I have learned is the importance of mentorship. There was a time when I didn't want to admit that I needed mentorship. I thought, I know how to do this, and I'm going to do it Christina's way. And then suddenly I realized, and I even told one of my shareholders, I said, I am not a tech company. No, I am an ag girl. I am a farmer. I was very stubborn and hard-headed. I knew the answers. And I consulted who's now our shareholder, John, and I said, I need you to look at this. He said, you are a tech company. So I have learned to admit that I am teachable and that I am learning, and this world is moving at an incredibly fast pace, and either you're going to get on and move with it, or you are going to be left behind because the consumer is requiring a different touch this day that they've never had before.
Yeah. What about labor on your side? There's labor issues everywhere. Does SoilKit have all the people you need? You pulled together all the high school kids in order to make this package that I'm holding here. But now that order has been filled, what's your labor issue?
So right now we'll be going into spring. It's a seasonal company. So yes, we have the surges that kind of complicate things, but we're still seeing COVID outbreaks. So last week, I have 2 sisters that work for me, and Jennifer has 4 kids and Molly has 3. Well, of course, COVID hit all of them. So the 2 moms and the 7 children all at once. And suddenly I'm wearing a customer service hat that day and taking meetings and doing. So really, I think the complication of labor is just still trying to brace for the unanticipated of COVID in the workplace right now.
We had Fitzgerald Washington, the Alabama Secretary of Labor, on a couple of weeks ago. He was very proud of the 3.2% unemployment rate in the state of Alabama. He's like, we're back. We're at it. I'm like, Fitzgerald, there are a lot of people that wish it were 5% and 7%. because they can't find people. You know, this boast about low unemployment matters to you, but it really impacts a lot of business owners completely differently.
So I'll tell you the one part of our company that's greatest impact right now with labor is I had a college intern that I worked with for 2 years from University of Alabama. We hired him on right out of college at a very high salary. He's a software engineer, and he came on our team. Within 6 months, he was shopped out by Amazon for $200,000 salary.
No kidding.
No exaggeration.
No
to
kidding.
hold on to software engineers right now is almost impossible.
With your deep Auburn roots, it says here in your bio that your background also includes you're a cum laude business graduate of Auburn University, and you served the commissioner for the city of Orange Beach. You've got a civic drive too.
Oh, I love it. I love participating in your communities. I currently serve on the South Baldwin Chamber of Commerce and giving back to businesses. I think there is always a part of you that you do need to give back to the community that you live in and participate with. So yes, I love it. And I love the city of Orange Beach. One thing I like about them is they really invest in the businesses that are brought up through their community. So I was up at council the other night, and Mayor Kennan and Jerry Johnson were just thanking me for being there and just how much they support our product and want to participate in the city and how important it is to have soil health in the city.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that the city believes in, you know, the community that also has the business and the entrepreneurs that they have.
Help their own.
Yes.
Support their own. Mm-hmm. What are sales? I don't want to get too deep into your weeds here. That was a great pun, by the way. But do you have sales goals for the year? How about units sold?
Okay, so I would like to double my sales. So when I started just a couple years ago, let's say I technically started really in 2020, I had right at 100,000. And last year I did 1 million, and I'd like to double and do 2 million.
2 million units sold.
Well, 2 million in revenue.
2 million in revenue. Okay.
Yes.
How many units would that be? Do you have any idea?
I can't quote that off, right? I'd have to give me a calculator.
Right.
It is the end of the day today.
It is. It's towards the late of the day.
Kind of feel like I'm on Shark Tank here for a second.
Well, my questions are usually much more sharp and astute earlier in the day. And as the day goes on, I kind of get, my IQ drops off the cliff after about noon.
2 million and divide it by 30, and that's about how many units we need to sell.
That would be great. We're out of time. Christina, I am impressed and delighted and proud that you're part of the state of Alabama. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Cam, for having me.
Let's push this promotion code one more time. It's go to SoilKit.com, place your order, enter what's working at the checkout, in all caps, no apostrophes, and that code is good until April the 1st, 2022, and you're going to get a discount on your soil kit.
And we didn't even talk about how fertilizers are doubling prices this year. So those that are wanting to put out fertilizer, do a soil test before you do.
That's the natural gas thing?
Natural gas and the different, we have all different kind of factors that kind of shut down the fertilizer plants. Natural gas, severe storms in the U.S. disrupted fertilizers. China bans the export of phosphates. And some farmers are blaming fertilizer companies for the rising prices. Regardless, fertilizer prices have doubled. And before you put out the fertilizer, which may be bad for the environment and your plant and your pocketbook, do a soil test.
There we go. What a wonderful plug. The woman's a natural. Christina Woerner McInnis, CEO, founder of Agritech Corp., part of the Woerner family businesses. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by the Alabama Center of Real Estate, housed at the Culverhouse College of Business at the University of Alabama. We'll be back after this break with a commentary from David Webb and final comments.
At Spring Hill Toyota, it's just that easy. From our 3-day exchange to free car washes, the benefits of the Spring Hill Advantage make the choice easy to see. We make it easy to own. Every vehicle comes with Toyota Care, plus our no-cost maintenance plan with free tire rotations and oil changes for 4 years. Get peace of mind with free roadside assistance 24/7. And don't forget, it's easy to buy your car 100% online. Visit SpringHillToyota.com today. It's just that easy.
I want to repeat the offer that Christina made on the show because I feel like I kind of rushed it and want to make sure that we're clear on this. Let me read it very carefully. The promo code is this: What's Working? All caps, no apostrophes. That promo code is valid until April 1st, 2022. And this promo code is only valid for SoilKit without trowel. You'll know what that means when you go online to SoilKit.com and see the different options you can buy. This promo code is valid only for SoilKit without trowel, and it's not valid on the other kits. Very generous of Christina to offer that, and I hope you take her up on it and see what's going on with your yard, your garden, your hydrangeas, your deer plots. That's something that caught my attention online as well. Next up is David Webb. David is not a fan of the woke culture, particularly when it attacks something near and dear to him and near and dear to our community here in Mobile and the state of Alabama, and that's our azalea trailmates.
So what does it mean to be woke? And how does cancel culture use wokeness to force people and organizations to bend to their demands? And what does all this have to do with Mobile Senior Bowl? Well, let me tell you. Let's first address the term woke. Its genesis came from the PC crowd many years ago. You know, it's the same people that pressured the city of Mobile to remove and displace the statue of Admiral Sims downtown. They're everywhere, doing their best to sterilize our Southern history and traditional culture. Being woke, they supposedly empathize, agonize, and sometimes organize into a group of forced to change things. They'll say their struggle is about injustice in society, especially concerning racism or what is perceived as racial inequality or division. Out of this belief structure often arises cancel culture, which, in my opinion, has become a cancer in today's society. The bending and appeasement by people and corporations to overbearing cancel culture groups frighten me. Seems like backbones are hard to find these days, which leads me to the Senior Bowl. As you know, the Senior Bowl originally acquiesced to the NFL's supposed request to keep the Azalea Trailmaids from appearing, participating, or associating with the game this year. For some reason, the Senior Bowl obliged that request and abstained from inviting the Trailmaids until the public outcry came to a fevered pitch. I was truly miffed at their actions, especially considering the city and county chipped in around $500,000 for having the game this year. As a native Mobilian, I found the Bowl's actions disrespectful to the Trailmaids. These accomplished and distinguished high school teens compete yearly for Azalea Trailmaid positions through merit, grades, attitude, and enthusiasm. They are official ambassadors to our great city on a county, state, national, and even an international scale. And the Senior Bowl initially shunned them, wanted them erased from their program. So now let's tackle why. It was the woke cancel culture. It appears that maybe the historic antebellum dresses these maids proudly wear remind some sensitive folks of a time when the Civil War, the Confederacy, and slavery were part of the Southern society. Never mind that the dresses are actually symbolic of the colorful azalea blooms that grace our gracious city every year. Just like they permanently ripped Admiral Sims out of the ground, so did the woke want to sterilize the Azalea Trailmaids from their historic Southern heritage and place in the city. It's heartbreaking. The Senior Bowl finally relented from public pressure and invited the maids to participate in the bowl game. But it took an army of people with backbones to raise Cain. I'm glad the right decision was made. The woke cancel culture lost the Azalea Trailmaid battle in 2022, and I find that refreshing.
Thank you, David. In June, I had John Hoyle on the show. He leads the Alabama School of Math and Science, and they have forwarded me something about an upcoming camp this summer that I wanted to read. I normally don't do this, but I'm a big fan of STEM education. Here we go. I'm reading it. The Alabama School of Math and Science has launched the inaugural STEM Leadership Academy summer camp for rising 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. Participants will stay on the ASMS campus and gain access to advanced STEM courses, leadership training, and community building facilitated by expert faculty members. It's a great opportunity for students to pursue a premier STEM curriculum amidst a fun, hands-on, and engaging summer experience. Session 1, June 6 through 10. Section 2, June 13 through 17. Cost is $430 per person. Go to asms.net to sign up. That's it for the week, everybody. The show is produced by John Thompson with Ion Digital. Find us at what'sworkingcam.com to hear any shows again or to subscribe to the podcast. What's Working is presented by the Alabama College for Real Estate, housed at the Culverhouse College of Business at the University of Alabama. We'll have another show next week. Have a good week, everybody.